From Washington, this is VOA News. Ukraine troops move against separatists, and the United States voices its support. And a man accused of hate crimes in the United States makes his first appearance in court. I'm Marty Johnson reporting from Washington. Ukrainian airborne troops have landed at an airport in the country's eastern region at the start of an apparent crackdown on pro-Russian separatists occupying government buildings in 10 localities near the Russian border. Today's landing at Kramatorsk triggered conflicting reports of events at the airfield, with the Kyiv government reporting its capture, but witnesses, including Western journalists, saying the Ukrainian force was quickly surrounded by local civilians and did not immediately move toward the city itself. Kyiv officials say a similar operation was launched in Slovyansk. Earlier, Ukrainian leaders said the cautious operation was begun after a deadline for separatists to surrender passed on Monday without movement. The Obama administration suggests Ukraine's operations against the separatists are justified, but that the U.S. is not considering providing lethal assistance. VOA White House correspondent Luis Ramirez reports.
White House spokesman Jay Carney told reporters the United States appreciates Ukraine's pledge that it will act responsibly and gradually against the separatists.
That said, the Ukrainian government has the responsibility to provide law and order. And these provocations in eastern Ukraine are creating a situation in which the government has to respond.
The Ukrainian government dispatched what it said are anti-terrorist forces to take back government buildings that armed pro-Russian militias have seized in the last few days. Carney repeated U.S. warnings for Russia to pull back its troops from its border with Ukraine and engage in dialogue with the Ukrainian government. He called the situation a dangerous and volatile one. The U.S. official said President Obama is considering expanding sanctions, including if Russia decides to send troops into Ukraine. Luis Ramirez, VOA News, at the White House.
The man accused of a deadly shooting spree outside two Jewish community centers in the Midwestern U.S. state of Kansas made his first court appearance Tuesday. The suspect, 73-year-old Frazier Glenn Cross, is charged with murder. He shouted a Nazi slogan at television cameras as he was arrested after Sunday's killings. Federal prosecutors say they are pursuing federal hate crime charges and will present evidence to a grand jury soon. If convicted, the military veteran could face the death penalty. U.S. Vice President Joe Biden says the one-year anniversary of the deadly bombings at the Boston Marathon is not just an important day for survivors, but an important day for the entire United States. Speaking in Boston at an anniversary ceremony, Biden today called the survivors of the explosions living proof America can never be defeated. And for those planning to run the upcoming 2014 race.
And next Monday, on Patriots Day, when I'm told up to 36,000 people line up to start the marathon, you will send a resounding message around the world, not just to the rest of the world, but to the terrorists, that we will never yield.
The two bombs, which authorities say were planted near the marathon finish line by ethnic Chechen brothers Tamerlan and Dzhokhar Tsarnaev, killed 3 people and wounded more than 250 others. France today presented graphic images from the so-called Caesar report of individuals tortured, starved, and killed by the Syrian government to the United Nations. VOA's Margaret Besheer reports from New York.
Nearly 60 countries have demanded that Syria be referred to the court in The Hague, but it is up to the majority in the UN Security Council to decide to send it there. And the Russians and Chinese have previously blocked other resolutions related to the situation. French Ambassador Gérard Araud told reporters his government is going to try to persuade all council members to support a referral.
It will be to the ICC to investigate everything and to decide on every crime committed.
At the news conference, British forensic scientist Stuart Hamilton showed a series of disturbing and graphic photos of corpses that had endured horrific torture.
I have not seen much like this in my career, and I can think of no natural or innocent explanation.
Margaret Besheer, VOA News, the United Nations.
North Korean leader Kim Jong Un visited the mausoleum of his grandfather Kim Il-sung on Tuesday, the 102nd rather, of the country's late founding leader. The anniversary, known as Day of the Sun, is a major holiday for North Koreans. Many gather to pledge their loyalty and pay respects at statues and portraits of the leader. I'm Marty Johnson, VOA News in Washington. More news at voanews.com.